In this video, I'm going to be going through anchored VWAPs, what they are, how to use them, and all of the good stuff. So for this, normally we make these videos over on Thinkorswim. In this case, we cannot do that. The reason for that is anchored VWAPs aren't really a thing on Thinkorswim, and if you are, you have to manually input them, so they're just quite long and complex. However, if you're over on TradingView, very simple to do, and so we'll go through exactly how you can use these anchored VWAPs. So again, we'll go through firstly how you place them, and then I'll go through what they show you and all of that. So firstly, how do you place them? So all you would do is you come over to this grid on the left. You come over to this one here. It will probably be by default for you, show you that signal. But either way, you come down 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one down, projections it's called. And then what you're looking for, volume based, and then anchored VWAP. So this is the one you will select. So what we will do is press that. And what you will see is now wherever you press, it will anchor a VWAP from that candle. For example, if we go to this red candle, we press it, it will now make an anchored VWAP. By default, yours won't look like that. Yours will look somewhat, I believe, like this. But we will go through how you adjust it. So yours will probably look more like that. It will anchor from the middle of the candle. Now that's not personally how I use them, so I'm going to show you how I use them and how you can edit them in that same way. So what you can do is anchor them from either a candle high or candle low, and the way I would do this is if it's bearish move. So in this case, you've got a red candle going down, you're moving away, you're waiting for a retest of that VWAP. So in this case, we want the VWAP to anchor from the high, because again, we're waiting for a move back up to it. So in this case, what you would do is you go over to inputs, you would come over to source, and you change this from open, high, low, close, and you would do this from the high. And what this will do is push your anchor VWAP to anchor from the candle high. And then what you can see in this case is price moves away from it, comes back, retests it, kind of holds it as a resistance, and you kind of get your push down. So that's how you would use the anchor VWAP that's how you would plot it from a top. Now we'll do the same thing. We want to plot it from a candle low. For example, we want to plot it from this low down here. So we move, we drag the anchor VWAP down to there, or again, what you can always do is replace it. So you go over down here, again, you select your anchor VWAP and you place it again. Now in this case, we're going to want to do it from the candle low. So what you would do is go over to source, change this high, change that to low, and then press OK. And now what you will see is again, it will anchor from this low. Price goes away from it, finally comes back to retest it here, and again, what do we get? We get a nice bounce. So that's how firstly you place them on a chart. Again, if you're doing it from a candle low, you want to plot it from candle low using your source as low, and if you're plotting from a candle high, then you're going to change the source back to high. And what you can always do is save these as templates. So resistance, you'll see if I place a resistance, it will plot it from the candle high and go red. And if I want a support anchor VWAP, which will change this source to low, it will also go to green. Just as a quicker way to do it, so you don't always have to go in and change the source yourself. So now, how do we actually use these? Now, I've shown you how to place them and how you can edit them, but now it's where do we place them from? So there's multiple ways you can use these. One way I quite like to use them is, for example, in earnings. So right now we're looking at the stock forward. We're on a 5-minute time frame. Again, these anchors will work slightly different depending what time frame you're on. Normally a 5 or 30 will normally be the nice ones I like, or even a daily if you're looking for kind of swing moves. But 5 or 30 were normally the nice two ones to use. And then again, we're going to place the anchor VWAP, and we're going to place it from the open of the gap move. And now in this case, we can see it's a gap and it's kind of moved to the downside. So in this case, I'm going to actually want to change this to a resistance anchored VWAP again. So that's just changing the source to high. And what we can see is, okay, we've had earnings. It came down, we retested this. This was our bearish move, and then we continued down. So that's how I normally use them. I would use them from an earnings move and try and trade the trend. We'll literally just look at anything. We'll go and look at a Tesla, see how this reacts off earnings. Again, some will be a lot cleaner, others won't. And again, it's all important having your own strategy on how to use them, but we're just showing you a way you can use them. So again, same thing with Tesla. Had its downward move, so we're anchoring it from that candle high, comes down. Again, you're getting that bit of hesitation, especially if you're a scalp trader, that would be profit. Otherwise, it did kind of run through a bit and then comes back down. again, we can just do this on repeat. What else is there? We'll go and check an Airbnb, for example. I think they had their earnings recently. Yes, they did. In this case, it's a bit more like I wouldn't use an anchor VWAP on a earnings move like this, because you can see what kind of happened with it is it kind of opened, consolidated, and then kind of moved the direction. So I wouldn't be too focused on that, but you can see I've already got an anchored VWAP placed on here. So it's not using the exact earnings move, but you're having a massive pump on the stock, obviously, as you can see quite clearly. So using an anchor from that low can normally be quite a nice area to try and play a nice bounce play, which is one I actually traded on Airbnb. But if you did want to place an earnings candle, anchor VWAP, again, you can see it did kind of do the same thing. If anything, it is more trending down, because you can see if you placed it from the candle low, it was already on that level. There's nothing you can really do. So if you place your anchor VWAP from the high, again, the retest, pop, and then drop. So you're seeing the same thing. And we'll go through one more example. Again, we'll just do an Apple or something, like any big name. There we go. We can get rid of these. And again, where's the earnings move? In this case, it wasn't actually a massive earnings move, but you'll probably still get the same reaction. So again, we go over to the opening. Again, earnings is here. That's the first candle of the day since earnings. Again, this is an upward move, so we change this to a support anchor VWAP. And then what a surprise. It basically plays out near perfectly off of this level once again. And again, anchor from the earnings low or the earnings open. So upward move, so you're placing it from the source low, comes up, makes a move back to it, and there you go. There's your support to trade or continuation along. And again, you do test it in this case multiple times throughout the day. Now, one thing I will say with this is, again, this video is more on just how to use it and where you may want to use it. In a case like this, you get your first tap. That's normally going to be the main setup. I don't normally like to trade these on repeat. Unless maybe you're looking at a longer time frame. If you're looking at a longer time frame, for example, a daily chart, then there's a bit more significance on these, and I'll quickly show you what I mean by these. For example, if we place it at this low, there's no test. We're going to have to come back and retest that at some time. Again, it's not always a low. It can be the start of a big move. So we get start of a big move here. Didn't actually know this one was here. I didn't trade this one myself. But again, we get a move literally to the penny. Come back, retest that, and fly some more. But what you'll see this time is there we kind of just shined it, and in this case we broke through it. So again, it's why I normally only trade the first test of these levels. But again, we can continue to do this, and I'll try and show you some examples of where sometimes the second test does end up failing. So they're not any clean setups. And we're not really getting any there, so we'll try and see if this short one, for example, was any cleaner to show you a double test, which isn't normally as clean. I guess even here, okay, kind of testing it there, we didn't hit it exactly, but again, kind of a sort of a test. You come back, you test it again, it's kind of broken through. So the second test just isn't as clean. But again, I will try and find you an actual clean example of exactly what we're talking about. Again, I think it's always good to go over non-perfect examples, because if you're looking at the textbooks, it shows you perfect examples, which you don't ever really get in the market. So it's normally easier to see more real-life examples. Like here, you know, you come back for a close test, but it does kind of shy it. But you come back and test it again, and in this case, it fails. Again, you didn't touch it to the penny last time, but it's getting very close. So you can take that as a first hit and then kind of ignore the next one. Is sometimes how you use them. But again, we'll keep doing this, try and get a better example. Again, here, you touch it perfectly, you sink, and then in this case, you gap above it. Now, we can't see to the right, but what you tend to do with these as well is you get your retest on the way back. So what you should see is a price move back into this level and hold it as a support. Again, we'll scroll to the right and see if that plays out. Oh, actually, we haven't even come down, but got close, but not quite hit it. But again, that's one other way you can play the anchor VWAP, is if it breaks it, then it can be used as a support or a resistance depending which way. Again, here. Again, near enough for first touch, second touch fails. So again, normally you're only playing the first play of it. And again, somewhat as a support, wasn't the cleanest move, but again comes back somewhat as a support and bounces. So that's another way you can use them. But overall, I think that's quite clear now on what the anchor VWAP is. So again, it's just like a normal VWAP, a volume weighted average price, but set from a certain time in place. If you want to do an exact candle, that's how you do it. Or an exact point in time. For example, you can do an anchored VWAP from, say, January 1st. And then you can start seeing how this stock trades throughout the year. Now, so if we go to, there we go, Jan 3rd, first trading day of the year. Now, the way I would use these is this is the only time I would change your source to open, high, low, close like it starts on. And that's just because you're just anchoring it for more of a time like that. So you can see, again, we come back, shied it slightly there, nice support there. Even here, again, not as clean, but you're looking at longer time frames. So these are going to be swing trades. You're probably not day trading these levels. So even though there's a bit of ugly movement there, you get your nice bounce. And we don't come and test it again. And I'll quickly show you how sourcing these from highs and lows changes how this candle moves. So if you do the high, for example, that then provided a trade. That provided a trade. That was a trade. Not as clean, but definitely a trade. Made this bit a bit uglier, but still tradable, and then that's it. Now if we change these to candle lows, we may see these get an even nicer entry. We change that to support. So again, no trade there. We missed that trade, but this one is to the penny and absolutely flies off of that level. And again, just gave you a better average if you traded this range. Obviously, that's your offside. There's your onside run. So again, moving these from candle highs to candle lows to the middle is going to make a difference. And again, it's you got to kind of find your own preference on that. Again, on the earnings, I think it's quite easy to pick if you want it from a high or low. And if you're using, for example, a year-to-date anchored VWAP, so again, going from January 1st, either you can place it from the candle low, if in the case of Apple, it's been up trending, which is normally nice. And again, first tag. Perfect first tag. Lovely trade. Second one, ugly. And again, it's why when you're using these anchored VWAPs, really only focus on the first tag. At least that's from how I use it. Again, you may find another way or a cleaner way to use it. But from how I personally like to use these anchored VWAPs, they are effective, they are efficient, but it's really just focusing on their first tag. Then I would kind of forget about them after that. So I hope that breakdown on the anchored VWAPs is helpful. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask. But I hope that explained how you access it, how to use it, and maybe the areas that you want to try using it at.